Superhero orgy.
Homelander versus Superman. Who's walking away?
Fire crotch and ice dildos. #1 streaming show in the world at the time. I say Soldier Boy wins, hands down.
That's the dog's bollocks.
I can't think of any other show that I would have so willingly gotten naked for.
Thanks. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the DaneMellowsTalks podcast. This week's guest is a very, very special one. He's been in Riverdale, Project Blue Book, Canada, The Story of Us, and most notably, The Boys Season 3 as Cold Snap. So from the superhero stage to the DaneMellowsTalks podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Shaun Mazzocca. How is it going?
It's going well, Dane. Thanks. That was a great intro, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. No, well deserved.
You.
Well deserved. I've loved everything that I've seen you in so far. It's all been really, really good. So I've been very excited to have you on the podcast.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thank you again, and really excited to be here. I've checked out a few of your shows, and I really like your style. I like the way you interview, so I'm glad to be here today.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
So the main thing, like I was saying then, that I have seen you in is The Boys Season 3 in an episode called Herogasm. Now, it's a very strange episode, but I thought rather than me trying to sum it up, I thought I'd give you the challenge of describing Herogasm in one sentence.
Oh, superhero orgy.
Yep.
2 words. In a sentence, I mean, nothing like you've ever seen in a show before. Pretty wild.
Or in anything before, really.
Yeah, anything really. I mean, I don't know. It depends on the kind of parties you go to, I guess. But
True, maybe. Yeah. Definitely something I've never seen before.
Yeah.
But I know that The Boys really like tries to mimic in a funnier way the way that like DC and Marvel kind of do the way things. But this was just a complete standout episode on its own, which was, in my opinion, is what made it really cool and really good.
Yeah.
But what was
it was interesting when I got the script for the audition. It was very much kind of giving me a nightclub vibe, like almost like like a BDSM club or like a sex club or something like that. So that was kind of what I had envisioned. And then, getting on set and seeing what it actually was, it was just like, oh wow, this is it's a little different than what I had in mind, but
yeah,
wow, it was surreal to say the least.
So what was it like on set that day? Those like key standout things that'll stay in your mind as you first walked on, and I imagine saw, Herogasm.
Yeah, it was a solid 5+ days at that location on that set. For me, 5 days on set, but I know the team was there longer, and some of the actors were there longer. I just remember the house. It was this mansion in Mississauga, and it was like kind of like on the outside something you might see in like the Flintstones, because there was rocks. Like, it was just the way it was designed. It was very like funky in that respect. And then walking inside, it was like, damn, this is it was hard to tell what the set decorators had put in the house versus what was just naturally in there, because it was just a swinging type house, like something you'd see in Rolling Stones music video. I think they might have even shot one of their music videos there. Like, it was wild. Like, I could envision the kinds of parties that must have been had there back in the 70s or 80s. It was a very interesting location.
Well, you probably added to one of the many parties that it has had there. Maybe even had the extremist party of all time there, really. So what was it like? Was when you got there, was everyone just told like go in, go for it, or did you all have like specific things that you had to do?
Oh no, yeah. So just before even doing the first COVID test to see if you could even go to a wardrobe fitting, they had us connect with the intimacy coordinator for the show. Her name was Casey Hudecki. Wonderful human being. She was fantastic. And her job as an intimacy coordinator is to check in with all the talent and see what everyone is comfortable with doing, kind of work with what the vision of the director and vision of the writer has for the scene, and talk with the actors and see how they can make that happen, and how they can shoot it in a way that's that's safe, because it is a very raunchy, raw scene. There's a lot of simulated things happening all over the place. So, doing that in a way that, makes it look real, but it's all actually very, very controlled and coordinated in that way. And, just making sure everyone's comfortable with what they're doing, and everyone has an idea of what they're agreeing to do before just kind of showing up and being like, okay, like, you're going to make out with this person and, be fondling them all over and everybody's half naked. Like, yeah, it was a very, very, professionally approached scene. And so that happened like shortly after the casting. And even for the casting, actually, the audition, they said in the breakdown, performer must be comfortable with this type of scenario, simulated sex scenes, et cetera, et cetera. So they were very clear about what we were getting into. There was not that there was not any surprises when we got on set, but
I imagine they were.
There were, but it was just things you kind of you wouldn't have even thought of, and then you show up and they're just there, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, wow.
As you say that, what's like the one that you're thinking of that's in your mind?
Oh, just like tables full of goodies from like fake joints and like little fake baggies of cocaine or whatever drugs the soups were doing, to like tons and tons of lube and bowls full of condoms and the sex swing, this like wrap up kind of deal with the chains and the rotating bed. Man, I could go on and on.
Yeah. But what a strange like environment to even think of, like having that on its own, but then putting all these like soups and these super powered people in there to then take it to a whole other level. Because I know like your character, Cold Snap, you could see how he made that like ice dildo there. And it's just one thing that it comes along and you're like, oh, that's really funny. But then it's like the characters' minds even doing that is just a crazy thought.
Yeah, that was an interesting dynamic there, just because the whole idea in that, what they're trying to highlight there is that they're essentially these human sex workers that are that have been hired by these superheroes for this orgy, and the superheroes are like using their powers to kind of get them off, and some of it looks like fun, and some of it does not look very enjoyable. So it's like, there's some abuse happening there, and the boys is very quick to point out how this heroes can be pieces of shit behind closed doors. So that was where they were going with that. And, you saw fire crotch and ice dildos and all the likes there.
So what did it feel like to be a part of an episode of that like caliber? Because I know leading up to it, everyone was so excited for this particular episode. So it must have felt really good to know that was the one that you were a part of.
Yeah, part of me felt really excited about that, and there was a part of me that was like, oh my goodness, like people are gonna see the raw raunchiness of this show. And I mean, to be fair, at that point, it's like if you haven't started watching The Boys, you probably won't jump on to halfway through season 3 just to see that episode. If you do, great, good fun. But I think most people, I always say with The Boys, watch the first episode, watch the first 10 or 15 minutes, and you'll know whether it's for you or not. You can kind of, say, yes, I'm in, and you're in for that, pretty much the whole ride, or, you might not be into that. It's not your jam, and you're not going to watch all the way up to season 3. So I think by the time you get to the Herogasm episode, as a viewer, you have an idea of what you are potentially in store for, and then the episode kind of just raises the roof a little bit, so breaks the glass ceiling. Yeah,
it definitely does. And I completely agree with that, because I know that definitely like the first 10-15 minutes of episode 1, the original season 1 of The Boys, you definitely know whether you're hooked into it or not just by those few opening scenes. And then to get all the way to season 3, I really like the way, maybe you can comment on this as well, how the show like builds it up from season 1 to 3 and then going on to 4 now.
Mm.
Um, that like level that they show you to get to the point of Herogasm, where it's like, well, it's now not unexpected for the boys to pull something like this off, but you wouldn't find that in a season 1.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of have to earn that. You kind of have to earn that. And I think the boys did. That's why, I'm a huge fan of the show. So I was really excited to read for it. I had read for it once before. But this scene they sent for the audition for Herogasm was a lot of fun. So I just had a lot of fun with it. And was so excited to be able to be a part of the show and a part of this pretty epic episode. I think when we were filming, I remember the crew was saying that the show was the #1 streaming show in the world at the time, and that was just during season 2. So that was like it was
Wow.
exciting. It was a big buzz to know that and to know that we're filming this and we're into the next season, and it's a really crazy episode in the next season. So that was really really cool.
And I'm not 100% sure on the stats behind it, but I know that I was definitely hearing a lot more buzz around season 3 compared to season 2, and I know that there was a lot around season 2 originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to then jump on the back of that, it's really cool.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned the audition process a couple of times as well. What was that like getting that first script, or how did the role come across to you?
I got the audition piece from it was my agent at the time, and excuse me, just kind of like any other audition, but it was a little more, I guess, suggestive is the word I'm going to use. There was, it was hinted that there was some freaky stuff happening at this big party,
Right.
and yeah, so it was just a fun scene to film and kind of try a few different things out with, and sending that off, and then they made their decisions from there. They wanted to see a few shots of like some of the tattoos I had, just to see where they could cover things up, because I was going to have no clothes on for the scene, so they had to figure out what they had to cover up. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was it. It was a pretty standard audition process, but it was a very fun scene to shoot and prepare.
So you knew, did you know that it was for the boys from the get-go?
Yes. Yeah.
That must have been really exciting, and even just to have that come across your desk, like you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I said, even just to have that was very exciting. So then to actually be cast and be a part of it, and doing a little research on Cold Snap. He's kind of an interesting guy there. So it was just really really an experience I'm very grateful for. Um, and then everything that came along with the actual experience of shooting it was all that and then some. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's even more for you.
Yeah.
So with the
I don't
character
know. I
of
don't know when
okay.
I'll ever be in a situation like that again. So that was
Oh yeah.
yeah, really cool.
I imagine it's not the regular Friday night, but
No, no, not mine anyways. And if it
yeah.
is Friday night, hey, good on you. Let your freak flag
Yeah.
fly. Not for me though.
No. Yeah. So the character of Cold Snap though, could you tell us a little bit about that character, the research that you've done into it? Because even though we've seen a very small glimpse of it in the Herogasm episode,
Mhm.
it is a character that does seem really cool, and that would be cool to see explored a little more.
Yeah. So Cold Snap is kind of like the boys likes to parody a lot of kind of established superheroes from either the Marvel or DC universes. And Cold Snap is kind of like the Iceman from the X-Men.
Hmm.
Um, I guess he would also kind of be like, I guess, like Killer Frost from DC, or
DC, yeah.
there's a lot of different versions, or Captain Cold even, if you want.
Captain Cold was the one I was thinking. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So he doesn't use a gun though. He uses his hand, which is kind of
yeah,
um, but yeah. So that's their version of that hero, Cold Snap, and he's the leader of this kind of side gang of, I guess, yeah, I guess they're kind of like C-listers in the comics too, C-list superheroes, and um, yeah, just kind of like all the other heroes, grimy, douchey,
Yeah.
kind of a piece of shit in a lot of ways. Yeah, and then they
It
mentioned
must.
in season three, the first or second episode, they mentioned Cold Snap, how they got him for domestic battery or something. So you're like, okay, this
Yeah.
guy really is an asshole. Like he's violent. He's not a good person yet. Yeah, he's a soup, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a crazy world to be a part of. I know. I did clock onto that mention earlier on before Herogasm,
Mhm.
because me and my girlfriend are rewatching it now. Well, I'm rewatching it. She's watching it for the first time,
Right.
and we'd already been in touch by the time we got up to the mention of it, and I was like, oh, they've just mentioned him there. I was like, he's coming on the podcast.
Nice.
Um,
Cool.
but yeah. So exploring those characters in that Amazon Prime Boys universe, really. How do you feel about exploring your character in that compared to if you was in like a Marvel or DC with the same character? How would those compare?
Um, I mean, the universe that the boys exist in is a very kind of dark and gritty universe. So I think there'd be fun in exploring a character arc in that respect, even similar to like what they did with Termite. You know, he was in a few episodes throughout the season
Yeah.
and had his little, you know, they had a few things going on with him. He had a great ending, so to speak. So that'd be cool to kind of do something like that as Cold Snap as well. Kind of have a few fun moments throughout the next season or two, and then an epic way to go out as well. Somehow, I don't know how that would be. Um, but yeah, something like that would be cool in the boys universe, and then in
Yeah.
a DC or Marvel universe. I mean, again, it kind of depends which one you're going with, because DC is really reshaping their
True. Yeah.
universe
Actually.
right now. I'm a huge DC fan. Superman's my absolute favorite. But yeah, so I haven't seen Black Adam yet, but from what I understand, The Rock is really taking some of his influence and power in the real world and changing the DC universe all for what I hope is going to be the better. It's
Yeah.
hard to say.
Hopefully.
Yeah, as a DC fan, you know, it's hard.
Yeah.
How'd
It
Rock
is.
go?
It is because I only really got into DC over the COVID lockdowns because obviously Marvel had stopped putting things out as everybody else did. So I was like, oh well, let me jump over to this DC side of things. I was watching all the films, and I was watching all the Flash and Arrow universe kind of things, and those are the ones that really got me hooked into it. Which is obviously why I know about Killer Frost and
Captain Cold.
oh, Captain Cold. That's the one. Yeah, sorry, slipped my mind then.
Oh,
Yeah, it is like those sort of different elements of the different universes. But I suppose in the boys, it is more. It's a darker character in a darker universe, where it is more you can explore it in there. So I suppose that's really good in that way.
mhm.
But so to compare the two, I thought it might be fun to do a little who would win scenario out of some DC and some Marvel characters versus some of the boys
Oh
characters.
yeah, cool. I'm down.
So throw some in as well if you want, because I know, like you're saying, you're fans of them all. So I'm gonna go throw in the obvious one straight away. Homelander versus Superman. Who's walking away?
I think, I mean, given what we've seen so far, and without trying to spoil anything for anyone who's not all caught up, but I think Superman is just more mentally stable, and whether they're powered equally, punch for punch, I think that plays a huge effect because Superman's very mentally stable. Um, he's very wise, and I think he could see that kind of chink in Homelander's armor and find
Right.
a way to use it against them, and probably take him down without killing him, but who knows? Well, that's
Yeah, but then whether Homelander would stay down until he's dead, really, is which is I think would be my argument to that, to just be like, well, yeah, Superman's all this, but he doesn't kill, whereas Homelander is a bit more mentally unstable than Superman, but he's got that more violent nature to him as a like I'll do this by any means necessary, including to kill. So,
yeah.
but the powers do kind of match up quite well, I think.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, if Superman let it go too far, I think there would be a lot of civilian casualties, much like we saw in Man of Steel. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think ultimately he would win.
So what about Captain America
Mhm.
versus Soldier Boy?
I say Soldier Boy wins hands down. He's got that like power that he's shooting from his chest, right? That like atomic
Yeah.
bomb or whatever. So um, I just think he has that on Captain America, no matter what.
See, it is that kind of thing of the both like the super soldier kind of superheroes
Mhm.
or supervillains. But it is that element that I think Soldier Boy has that on top of him. Also, Soldier Boy can sing, as we saw in the show.
Oh yeah, fantastic singer.
Element of distraction on there.
Yeah.
And I thought one more.
Mhm.
We could do Cold Snap versus Killer Frost.
Oh, I think Cold Snap would try and hook up with Killer Frost. I don't know if it
Yeah, probably actually, yeah. It could go in a complete different direction.
Yeah, it very well could. Yeah, so I think that's how they would want to end up going. But if we're talking fight for fight, I think Killer Frost. I think she's a little more witty than Cold Snap. I think he's having a good time more than he is being a responsible superhero or supervillain for that matter.
True, yeah. Maybe even in a fight that would actually become like the final factor
Yeah.
between them. I'll back you though in it. I'll back Cold Snap.
Yeah.
And
Oh, thanks.
yeah.
Appreciate
Making all your ice items.
that.
You can do a lot with that. A lot with that.
Yeah, and my portrayal of Cold Snap knows jujitsu as well, so he can work some ice into there too.
There you go. Yeah. Get yourself some jujitsu weapons going
Exactly.
about. Yeah. Yeah, I'll back you in that 100%. Uh, so to stay on like the kind of quiz element of this, I've got a few boys quiz questions to truly test your knowledge
Yeah,
on the show, which I'm glad to say that you are a fan of the show.
totally.
Otherwise, yeah, this would have just not gone down well.
I can't think of any other show that I would have so willingly gotten naked for. So, that tells you how much the boys.
How much it means to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So first question. I think we've got 5 or 6 questions, 5 questions in total. First question, we're starting off not too hard. What is the name of Huey's doomed girlfriend in season 1?
Um, oh wow, I'm having a complete brain fart now. Oh man, it's been a while since I've done a rewatch.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I feel like this is wrong. The name Grace or Gracie's coming to my mind, but I don't think that was it.
Is Grace is actually one of the options that's on here, but it isn't Grace.
Oh, you've got multiple choice options. Well, if I knew
I can give you some options if you want.
for this one, I don't know why I can't think of it right now. I promise I watched the show, but it's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. It's one of my favorites. I just can't think of her name right now.
To be fair, it is hard because she was in the first 15 minutes and then it's
Yeah,
the odd reference. But so the options are Donna, Robin, Elena, and Grace.
Robin.
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
you go.
That's right.
I'll give you that one.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Dane.
Yeah. So the next one, I can give you the options as well if you want. How was Translucent killed?
Oh, he had dynamite, not dynamite. He had a bomb up his rectum.
He did, yeah. He was blown up. What a way to go
Oof.
as well in that.
Hopefully, it was quick. Jeez.
It seemed it.
Yeah.
So we've got what does the deep rescue from an aquarium?
A dolphin. Oh, from the
It is a
aquarium.
dolphin. It is
Dolphin.
a dolphin. You are right, yeah.
Okay, I was thinking maybe no, he doesn't save the lobster. He wants to, and then yeah. Ugh,
Again, what a brutal death on that one right in front of him.
no, I know.
It is horrible. That's what the show does really well, I think, to take you in one direction and then to completely flip it on you and throw something like that in your face. And you're like, wow, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, yeah.
So how does Homelander kill Madeline?
Oh, he uses his heat vision, lasers 2 holes right through her skull.
He does. Yep. Lasers her eyes out straight away. So
Yeah.
you're doing quite well. You're doing quite well in this. 4 for 4. Final question. What is Kimiko's unique superpower? And your options are superhuman hearing, invisibility, healing factor, or ice breath.
It's the healing factor. Yeah. I
It
was
is
gonna
the
say she's
healing
kind of like
factor.
Wolverine, but without the claws.
Yeah, which in a way is really cool, I think.
Oh yeah, Kamiko's a great character. I
I
like what they're
think I
doing.
think yeah, she's got a lot left to explore in the next season or a couple of seasons, however many they're planning on doing with that. But yeah, 5 for 5. You are a fan. You've proven it.
Yes, thank you. It was
The
a rough
boys'
start with
medal
that.
of honor. Huh?
It was a tough start with the first question.
Yeah, the Robin one. To be fair,
I
I
don't know
think
what
I
I'm supposed to
only
do.
I only really knew that one myself because of the rewatch that we're doing at the moment with it. Other than that, I would have just been like, oh, that girl from way back when. So in the interviews that I've been doing on this podcast, I've started to ask each guest to ask the next guest a question. So without knowing who the next guest is, I'll ask you to ask a question in a moment. But the question I've got for you is from Jack Socket, who was in Smile recently, the horror film that came out last month.
Okay.
And he asked you, are you a high top wearer or a low top wearer in terms of sneakers?
Oh, I've honestly had both. Depends on the outfit.
Yeah, I guess so,
Both.
yeah.
Depends on the outfit. I prefer I'm kind of a minimalist, so I prefer a lower top, but
Right.
growing up I played basketball, so I always had high top shoes. I always had, I had a pair of Air Force Ones for a while. Like I do enjoy high tops in the right situations, but
Yeah,
uh in general, I'm like, the less I can wear on my feet, the better. So we'll say low top.
that makes sense. Though is me being British, I don't think I fully understood it, but the way he asked the question seemed like there was some deeper meaning of if you wore a high top or a low top. So I was like, maybe in Canada it transfers better. I
Maybe.
don't know.
I don't know. They're for maybe for sneakerheads, like that is a hidden meaning. As someone who's not a sneakerhead, I couldn't tell you, but yeah, uh,
Well, it was
all about function.
worth a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Bit of a random question from Jack, but we love to see it.
I like that.
So have you got anything in mind to ask the next guest?
Sure, yeah. Without knowing who your next guest is, I think one of my favorite questions to ask anyone really is um, what inspired you to do what you do, or what was the moment where you knew what you're doing was the thing you wanted to do?
Knowing who the next guest is, that is a very good question.
Cool.
She'll really appreciate that, and I think she'll have a good answer to it.
Sweet.
But just to close off the podcast today with Alana from One Division and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, when I had her on, we played a little guess the English slang game,
Okay.
and I thought you could give that a go and try and top her score.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
So so we're going to start off with, what would you say a cuppa is?
A cupper?
A cuppa, spelled Cuppa.
That's got to be like coffee. You want to grab a cuppa and get out of here.
I'm going to give you that. It's we say it as like a cup of tea.
Cup of tea. All right, there you go.
Yeah,
Cuppa.
like tea. Yes, I'll give you that one. Well played.
Nice. Yeah.
So, what do you think a sani is?
Sani.
A sani. So it's like Sarnie.
Sani. I like that you're giving me the spellings. This helps.
Yeah, I think my accent as well probably doesn't help with it saying them, but
That's okay. Sarni. I don't know. You guys like to abbreviate and shorten things. I know that. So it's got to be like I don't know. Scarf is coming to mind. I don't know why. And that doesn't even fit with what I first thought, but like a scarf.
What was it that you was first thinking?
No, that was what first came to mind when you said the
Right.
word.
Okay.
I just like logically, I'm like, no, they like to abbreviate things. So I wanted to try and figure out what you could be
I
abbreviating with
see what you
something.
mean. I see
Yeah.
what you mean. It unfortunately is not a scarf.
Right.
A sarnie is a sandwich.
Sandwich. Okay.
So you'd say like, oh, this morning I had a bacon sarnie for breakfast
Yeah, with a cuppa.
with a cuppa. Exactly. See, you get in there. You got in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So if I was to say, and it has been recently, if I was to say it's raining cats and dogs,
Mhm.
what would that mean?
Oh, well, I mean, here it means it's like it's raining. It's big, heavy rain, downpour.
Yeah,
Lots of
yeah.
rain. Yeah. We have
Also, is that a Canadian saying as well?
yeah, we have that one too. Yeah.
Oh, you've sneaked one in there then. An easy point.
Well, a lot of the Canadian kind of English is picked up from British influence, right?
Yeah,
So we do have some things that are similar.
a couple of crossovers.
Yeah.
We like to see it. Okay, so I've picked two weird ones to end on.
All right.
So we've got Bob's your uncle.
Mhm.
Have you got that one?
I say that a lot, and I think I use the right context. I'm trying to think, how do I explain when you say that? Almost like that's a way of like wrapping up a plan. Like, okay, so we're gonna run to the store, we're gonna grab groceries, we get home, put everything away, I'll make dinner. Bob's your uncle, baby.
Perfect. Yeah,
Yeah.
smashed
So,
it.
so I don't know how to explain exactly what that means, but it's
But
kind
I
of,
know,
yeah,
I know you know. Yeah. To be honest, because I tried to explain that one to Alana, and it was pretty much the same explanation. It was go to the shop, get some milk, come back, Bob's your uncle.
yeah,
Which in my head I was like, it's not a good explanation, but if you know what it is,
yeah. That's the
then
end
you
of the
know what it
plan.
is.
Done, done. Everything's
Yeah,
done. Yeah.
I'll give you the point for that one. Well done. Okay, right, final one. If something is the dog's bollocks,
I mean, bollocks is like it's like butt cheeks, kind of, isn't it? Like that's the dog's
bollocks are your balls.
balls. Oh, geez. Okay, yeah. So it's probably something that kind of sucks. Like it's the unfavorable option.
You'd think it was, but for some reason in this country, if something's great, we say that's the dog's bollocks.
So the dog's bollocks would basically be the equivalent of the bee's knees.
Yeah, yeah.
There
It really would, yeah.
you go.
It's yeah, to be honest, we've got a very strange version of the bee's knees.
That is a strange version, but I mean, bee's
But
knees is pretty strange too. So tit for tat.
true, true. But three out of five is a really good effort on that. So well played.
Or as we might say here, I don't know if you have this one: six of one, half a dozen of the other.
No, no, is that the same for the same meaning?
Sort of, yeah. Like bee's knees and dog's bollocks. It's six of one and half a dozen of the other.
I like it. I'm gonna start using it.
Mhm.
I like it. We'll
You get it?
transfer some lingo, some
Yeah,
Canadian and English lingo. We'll just start swapping it and start confusing everyone around us.
it's great. It's really expanding both of our cultural awareness
Oh yeah.
and usage of the English language, which is spoken by people all over the world. So there's a lot of weird versions of it out
Oh, definitely.
there.
Including dog's bollocks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's definitely up there. But yeah, so you smash the boys quiz. You smash the English slang quiz. So well played on that one.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been really great talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Likewise, Dane. Yeah, this was an awesome interview. Looking forward to doing another one after Cold Snap's reappearance. Let's go.
After the return, I'm banking on it.
That's right. Thanks, man.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'll speak to you soon.
Take care.